My fiancée's sister framed me for theft, then demanded I pay for her trauma from my inheritance. My story begins a little over a year ago, when I, 32, male, was happily engaged to Sarah, 30, female. We had been together for 5 wonderful years, and I truly believed she was the woman I was meant to spend the rest of my life with. Our relationship was strong, built on trust, respect, and a shared vision for our future. We were planning a small, intimate wedding, saving up for a down payment on a house, and talking about starting a family. Life felt perfect, a dream I had worked hard to achieve. I came from a modest background, and through years of diligent work and smart investments, I had managed to build a comfortable life for myself. My parents, bless their souls, had also left me a decent inheritance when they passed a few years prior, enough to significantly help with a house and to ensure a good start for our future children. The only real complication in our otherwise idyllic existence was Sarah's younger sister, Emily, 28, female. Emily was, to put it mildly, a handful. She had always been the golden child in their family, showered with attention and privileges, and it had, in my opinion, turned her into a self-centered, entitled individual. She struggled to hold down a job, constantly relied on her parents for financial support, and had a knack for creating drama wherever she went. Sarah, being the kind and empathetic person she is, always tried to see the best in Emily, often making excuses for her behavior. I, on the other hand, found it increasingly difficult to tolerate Emily's constant need for attention and her subtle, often not so subtle, jabs at my financial situation. She seemed to resent my success, often making comments about how I was lucky or how easy I had it, completely disregarding the years of hard work I had put in. Things came to a head during a family gathering at Sarah's parents' house. It was a typical Sunday lunch, filled with the usual chatter and laughter. I was in good spirits, having just received news that a significant investment had paid off, adding a substantial amount to my inheritance. I had briefly mentioned it to Sarah, excited about our growing financial security, and we had shared a quiet moment of celebration. Unbeknownst to me, Emily had overheard parts of our conversation. Later that afternoon, while everyone was in the living room, Emily suddenly started screaming, accusing me of stealing her antique locket, a family heirloom that she claimed had been passed down through generations. She was hysterical, pointing at me and sobbing dramatically, claiming she had seen me near her room earlier that day and I was utterly dumbfounded. I had never even been in Emily's room, let alone touched her locket. I tried to explain, to calm her down, but she wouldn't listen. Sarah's parents, always quick to defend Emily, immediately jumped to her side, demanding that I return the locket. Sarah, bless her heart, tried to mediate, but even she seemed unsure, her eyes darting between me and her distraught sister. The accusation hung heavy in the air, thick with disbelief and suspicion. I felt a cold dread settle in my stomach as I realized the gravity of the situation. This wasn't just a misunderstanding, this was a full-blown attack on my character, orchestrated by Emily. The next few days were a blur of accusations, denials, and emotional turmoil. Emily insisted on calling the police, despite my protests and Sarah's attempts to dissuade her. She claimed that she had proof and that I was a thief who was only after Sarah's family money. The police arrived, took our statements, and although they found no evidence to support Emily's claims, the damage was already done. The seed of doubt had been planted in Sarah's parents' minds, and even in Sarah's, to some extent. I could see it in their eyes, the subtle shift in their demeanor towards me. Emily, however, wasn't satisfied with merely accusing me. She started a smear campaign, telling every relative and family friend who would listen that I was a deceitful thief, a gold digger who was trying to steal from her family. She even went as far as to post cryptic, but clearly targeted, messages on social media, implying that someone close to her was a criminal. My reputation, which I had painstakingly built over years, was being systematically dismantled by her malicious lies. Sarah, caught in the middle, was visibly distressed. She believed me, she said, but the constant pressure from her family and Emily's relentless accusations were clearly taking a toll on her. Our once strong relationship began to show cracks under the immense strain. One evening, Sarah came to me, tears streaming down her face. She confessed that her parents were demanding that I make things right with Emily, not just by apologizing, but by compensating her for the emotional distress I had allegedly caused. They suggested a sum, a significant sum, implying that it would help Emily recover from the trauma of the alleged theft. The amount they proposed was staggering, a substantial portion of my inheritance, the very inheritance Emily had conveniently overheard me discussing. It was then that the pieces of the puzzle clicked into place. This wasn't about a missing locket. This was about Emily trying to get her hands on my money. She saw my inheritance as a potential lifeline for her own financial woes, a quick fix for her self-inflicted problems, and she was willing to destroy my reputation and our relationship to get it. I was furious, a cold, burning rage simmering beneath my calm exterior. I refused point blank. I told Sarah that I would not pay a single penny to Emily, that I was innocent, and that this was a blatant attempt to extort money from me. Sarah, while understanding my anger, was still torn. Her family was putting immense pressure on her, threatening to disown her if she didn't side with Emily. The situation spiraled out of control. Arguments became more frequent. Whispered phone calls between Sarah and her mother became hushed secrets, and the loving intimacy we once shared slowly evaporated, replaced by a suffocating tension. I knew I couldn't continue like this. My integrity, my reputation, and my peace of mind were being sacrificed for a lie. I decided to take matters into my own hands. I hired a private investigator, a former police officer known for his meticulous work. I explained the situation, emphasizing the pattern of Emily's behavior and the suspicious timing of the alleged theft. The investigator, a no-nonsense man named Frank, assured me he would get to the bottom of it. I kept this a secret from Sarah, not wanting to add more fuel to the fire, but knowing that I needed concrete proof to clear my name and expose Emily's deception. Frank began his investigation, quietly digging into Emily's past, interviewing her acquaintances, and subtly observing her movements. It took a few weeks filled with agonizing uncertainty for me, but finally, Frank called with news. He had found something. He had discovered that Emily had recently pawned an antique locket, remarkably similar to the one she claimed I had stolen. Even more damning, he had obtained security footage from the pawn shop, clearly showing Emily selling the locket. The date on the footage was before the alleged theft. Emily had sold her own locket, then fabricated the story of me stealing it, all to extort money. Frank also uncovered a trail of debt and financial mismanagement in Emily's life. She was deeply in debt, facing eviction from her apartment, and had a history of borrowing money from friends and family, often without repaying it. Her desperate financial situation painted a clear motive for her elaborate scheme. Armed with this irrefutable evidence, I felt a surge of vindication, but also a profound sadness. The woman I loved had a sister capable of such calculated cruelty, and it was heartbreaking to witness the damage it had caused. That I decided to confront Emily and Sarah's parents, but not alone. I arranged a meeting at a neutral location, a lawyer's office, and brought Frank with me, along with my own legal counsel. I didn't tell Sarah the full extent of my plan, only that I was going to resolve the situation. When Emily and her parents arrived, they were confident, expecting me to capitulate and agree to their demands. Their smug expressions quickly turned to shock and disbelief as Frank presented his findings. He laid out the evidence, the pawn shop receipt, the security footage, the details of Emily's mounting debts, all meticulously documented. The color drained from Emily's face as the truth unfurled before her. She tried to deny it, to spin more lies, but the evidence was overwhelming. Sarah's parents, initially defensive, slowly started to grasp the magnitude of Emily's deception. Their golden child was not only a liar but a manipulator who had almost destroyed my life and their daughter's relationship. The atmosphere in the room shifted from accusatory to heavy with shame and anger. It was a devastating revelation for Sarah's parents. Their perfect daughter, the one they had always indulged, was exposed as a calculating schemer. Emily, cornered and exposed, finally broke down, confessing to everything. She admitted to selling the locket because she needed money desperately, and then, after overhearing me talk about my inheritance, decided to frame me, hoping to coerce me into paying her off. She tearfully begged for forgiveness, not for the damage she had done to me, but for the shame she had brought upon her family. Sarah, who had been listening in stunned silence, finally looked at me, her eyes filled with tears, a mix of apology, relief, and profound sadness. She hugged me tightly, whispering apologies for not fully trusting me, for letting her family's pressure sway her. I held her, feeling a mix of emotions myself. The weight of the false accusation was lifted, but the emotional scars remained. The aftermath was complicated. Sarah's parents were utterly devastated. They apologized profusely to me, expressing their deep regret for ever doubting me and for enabling Emily's manipulative behavior. They offered to make amends, but I told them that their sincere apology was enough. Emily, however, faced the consequences of her actions. Her parents, finally seeing the extent of her manipulation and deceit, decided to cut her off financially and insisted she seek professional help. She was ostracized by many family members and friends, her reputation in tatters. For Sarah and me, the experience was a severe test of our relationship. It had pushed us to the brink, exposing the vulnerabilities and fault lines that can exist even in the strongest bonds. We spent countless hours talking, rebuilding the trust that had been fractured, and healing the emotional wounds. Sarah, to her credit, stood by me through the difficult aftermath, recognizing the injustice and the emotional toll it had taken on me. She confronted her own internal biases and the lingering effects of her family dynamics. We decided to postpone the wedding, realizing that we needed time to process everything and to strengthen our foundation before making such a profound commitment. We embarked on couples counseling, not because our relationship was failing, but because we wanted to ensure we were both emotionally equipped to handle future challenges and to build a truly resilient partnership. The inheritance, which had been the catalyst for Emily's scheme, remained untouched. I used a small portion of it to cover the legal and investigative fees, but the rest was still there, a symbol of the future Sarah and I were trying to build. This entire ordeal, while painful, taught me invaluable lessons about trust, resilience, and the true nature of family. It showed me the depths of human greed and manipulation, but also the strength of true love and unwavering support. It reinforced my belief in standing up for myself, even when facing immense pressure and false accusations. Sarah and I are now stronger than ever. We recently started planning our wedding again, this time with a renewed sense of purpose and a deeper understanding of each other. We are focusing on creating our own family unit, one built on honesty, respect, and unconditional love, free from the toxic influence of external negativity. We have set clear boundaries with Emily and her parents, ensuring that our future and our peace of mind are protected. While the memories of the past year are still vivid, they serve as a constant reminder of the challenges we overcame and the unwavering strength of our bond. I am confident that we will face any future obstacles hand in hand, stronger and more united than ever before. This experience, while deeply traumatic, ultimately brought us closer, forging a bond that I believe is truly unbreakable. It was a harsh lesson, but one that ultimately paved the way for a more authentic and resilient future for us both.